Alright, so I want to welcome everyone to the first video of my fishing channel called The Reel Test. Now, the first reels I'm going to test out, if you've been on any of the online fishing forums, you're probably no stranger to these, because every other thread asking what reels should I buy is going to include probably both of these, or at least one of these, the SHIMANO Curado I and the DAIWA Tatula. Now, I am going to see which one of them casts the furthest using several different lures and baits. Now, the main difference between these two is the braking system. The DAIWA uses magnetic brakes, their own proprietary braking system called magforce Z, and the SHIMANO uses their another proprietary braking system. It's centrifugal, and it's called SVS Infinity. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh the spools because casting distance is greatly affected by spool weight. So let me grab a scale and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've popped the spools out of both, and we're going to see which one weighs the lightest. So the first one I'm going to pick is the Tatula spool. Let's see if I can get it to balance. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. It says it's 16.22, kind of fluctuates, about 16.2 grams. And that's pretty average for reels in this price segment. So the Curado, come on, you little piece of Alright, finally got it to balance. And that one is 16.4 grams. So the edge for the lighter spool barely goes to the Tatula. Okay, so now that we've established that the spools weigh roughly the same, there should not be any kind of significant difference in casting. Well, the brake systems have different, what they call braking profiles. They apply the maximum brake at different parts of the cast. And another factor is, everybody knows that the Tatula has the T-wing, which allows less friction, more space for the line to move around, and it mitigates the sharp angles that you would encounter from a reel that has a regular level wind like this one. Actually, it's pretty small, you can see. So on paper, the Tatula with the lighter spool and the T-wing system, which DAIWA says does help it cast farther, should win the casting distance test. But on paper versus real life are two different things. Okay, so the first lure I'm going to use to test the casting distance is the Vision Mega Bass. Just kidding, I'm not going to use any of my real Vision 110s. They're too damn expensive. I'm going to use a replica of the Vision 110. I believe it's the Lucky Strike RC STX. Now they claim it's half an ounce. But I took the hooks off because that's how I'm going to test these things. Let's see what it weighs with the hooks off. Okay, so it says 12.43 grams. So it's roughly, because 14 grams is half an ounce, so it's roughly 3/8 of an ounce. But I don't know if you can see, it's got a weight transfer system that helps it cast farther. The ball bearings will transfer to the end and help it cast farther. Okay, so let's see what's what. There we go. $124.9. That's a good one. $127.5. $119.10. $130-10. $109.2. That was a good one. $131.10. There we go. That's disappointing. 103.10. $116.9. $109.8. $120.10. $124.4. Shit. $134. $127.5. $122.5. 129.6. 129.6. $130. It went 130 feet. $128. I don't know if you can see that. Ahead. Kinda. $131. $132.5. $133.2. So we learned something there. If you can get the okay, so as we can see, the Curado I won the first round of the casting battle. Not only did it give us the longest cast between the two, but the average cast also was farther, which is surprising considering the T-wing system of the Tatula. Now, just some specs on the rod and the line I used. I like to use a short rod when fishing jerkbaits with like a fast action tip. So it was a 6'6" medium powered with a fast tip. It was a zodias. I used 10-pound mono. And the way I set the brakes up for the Curado, I had to put 2 internal brakes on, and the dial on the outside was between 2 and 3, and that gave me the best casts with very little line fluffing in the middle of the cast, which I know cuts down on the distance. Now the Tatula was a little bit harder to set up. Now with DAIWAs, they like you to run what they call loose spool tension, to where you tighten up the cast control knob until the side to side play is just barely gone. But what that does is, when you have the lure on and you press the thumb bar, the lure will drop really fast. And then you just basically back off the brakes. You start at the very top of the brakes and then you just back off. Now I did a lot of preliminary casts and preliminary measurements, and I found that the Tatula for the jerkbait actually casted farther if I set it up like the Shimano, which basically means that you set the cast control toward the lure, you know, has a slight medium fall to it. Yeah, so I set the Curado up that way as well. Now the next lure in the challenge is going to be a really popular lure, the square bill crankbait. So you guys subscribe and like and hit the notification. That way you'll know when that video is coming out. It's going to come out within the next week. I've already recorded the footage. I just need to edit it, and forgive my poor editing skills. I'm just learning, and it's going to get better. All right, thanks guys.